Grace, hi, I'm so glad to meet you. Thank you for coming, and actually thank you even more for being willing to videotape this. I don't normally videotape these sessions, so this is it. This will be my only request for that. But it is for IMG Academy, so say hello, IMG Academy. I wanted to show them a little bit about what I do with my mental fitness coaching.
Yeah.
So I know why I'm sitting here, because your parents reached out and told me about where you're at with your schooling and your athletics and what they're hoping for your future, and they thought that a little bit of mental coaching could help you to manage all of the big things that are going on in your life.
Yeah.
What I bring to the table is both a combination of 20 years of being in the field of helping people, adolescents, young adults, and full-fledged adults, overcome the really hard parts of life. Along with my own pursuit of athletic excellence and achieving professional status, actually, in my sport at a late age, and we won't talk about what that age is. We don't need to. Anyway, so I know why your parents chose me, but I don't know why you're sitting in this chair.
Well, I've been a runner for about now 5 years, competitively running, and for me, as much as it is a physical sport, it has so many mental aspects, and I find that like sometimes I can hit these blocks and these walls that I want to try and like get past and find methods that I can use to sort of break through these barriers and succeed and be the best that I can be.
Excellent. Well, we can certainly do that, and I'm going to give you an overview of what we're going to actually be able to do together. Let me just ask you real quick, when you talk about blocks in your running, can you think of, and you don't have to answer it out loud right now unless you feel comfortable, but can you think of other parts of your life where you have blocks that happen?
Yeah, I'm definitely. Well, I mean, definitely with like relationships with people, and I'm more close with my mom, and so I live with my mom full time, and finding like ways that we are able to communicate on like all levels and like having a healthy relationship and relationships with friends and such too.
Okay, you're going to make my job really easy because some of what we're going to do together is about communication, and believe it or not, communication is 80% nonverbal.
Yeah.
And what that means is that our bodies are always sending messages. So I'm going to teach you how to send messages to your own body, from your own body, and how to communicate more openly and eliminate blocks, actually. And that's going to transcend your physical into your relationship roles as well. So let me really give you an idea of what makes this different, because you can go to a therapist for a lot of social stuff and to overcome anxieties that you might have, even performance anxieties. A lot of really good therapists could help you with that. My orientation to the work that I do has more of a coaching approach. We're not going to dive into your past. You know, we just might dip into it to figure out, you know, where all this stuff might come from in the end. But the goals are twofold. And you're going to have to forgive me because I get really corny. And then I'm going to turn you into somebody that's somewhat corny too, because I'll ask you to do homework assignments that will bring out your corniness. Okay?
That's fine.
For good reason. But my program's designed to help you gain the clarity and conviction that you need for success. And that's what I call the 2 C's of success, clarity and conviction. Do you know what clarity and conviction are? This is not a test. This is,
I'm like familiar with like clarity, I guess, but conviction is something that I'm not totally like familiar with.
Okay, what do you think it means?
Maybe like knowing yourself. I'm not really sure.
Well, conviction, you have to know something in order to be dedicated to it, and the conviction is the commitment, the drive. The energy you put into something you believe in strongly. That's conviction. So in order to have conviction about something, you need to have clarity about what that is, about who you are. And so what I teach about clarity is I teach you how to see from the heart, from your passionate place. Not your 20/20 vision or whatever your prescription might be, but from the heart. So we're going to talk about clarity and conviction, and to do that, we're going to look at who you are now and what you have already within you to help you with where you want to go. We're going to look at what you need and who you know and how you get what you need from who you know, right? Because growing up and being your best is, it comes down to just you, but it's really a team effort,
Yeah.
right? Because we can't possibly rely on just ourselves to know everything or become our very best.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So here comes the corny part. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm going to teach you in terms of conviction how to create your own, what I call back pocket beats. I have my own, right? And they're going to be those catchphrases that you come up with on your own, that you pull out of your back pocket when you need it most. And so we're going to talk about that. Some of the exercises that we're going to do are going to be around finding what I call your voice of value. And you're going to really tap into your value system, not the things that people tell you you're supposed to or should, but the things you truly believe in 150% are the way to live on this planet. And that applies to how you approach your athletic pursuits too, right? Overall, what we're going to do is come up with your personal mission statement. Do you know what a mission statement is?
I guess it's like a goal or like something you drive towards.
Okay, so a mission statement is a guiding principle that helps you drive toward a goal.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
So companies have mission statements.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And a mission statement is when you get hired by a company, a lot of times they say you need to know the mission statement by heart because every decision you make when you work here has to somehow reflect or go back to that mission statement.
Yeah.
That's how we organize our work.
Yep.
And so your personal mission statement, which no one can give to you, you have to create on your own, will become your guiding principle, your mantra for your work.
Okay.
Right? And then I have homework assignments that I give to you because really and truly what happens in between our sessions is what's going to matter most.
Yeah.
Right? You can come in here once a week and we can talk about a lot of things and you could have relief from stress.
Yep.
You can have a new energy when you walk out the door. But if you don't do the work in between, it's going to take you probably twice or 3 times as long to absorb it all.
Okay.
And I come from a place of understanding that people don't want to have to be in therapy or in coaching sessions for long term.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So I'm giving you this overview and I'm doing all the talking because I'm going to give you homework assignments. It's not that I'm not interested in you. It's that you need to have an idea of what you're signing up for because you didn't really sign up for it. You were signed into it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right. So I want you to feel empowered to say no if it's something that doesn't fit with your personality, right? Because not everything's meant to be for everybody to use as a tool if it doesn't fit with their personality. So you're going to learn how to pick and choose what works for you. That's part of the skill set.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay? So your first homework assignment is going to be to answer this question. It's a very simple question. It's called, what's your why? Right? Why are you doing this? Why are you in this sport? Why did you choose running?
It's like a purpose kind of thing. Like
what's
my
your
purpose?
why? Yeah, and it could be a purpose.
Yeah.
It could be, but what I find a lot is that when people think about that question really, they realize that they were taking on the kind of dream of somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
And it became their own.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they love it, and sometimes they go, wow, you know what? I'm living my father's unresolved athletic life. Right?
Yeah.
You might be really good at your sport anyway. So we're going to talk about all of these things, but your first homework assignment is what's your why?
Okay.
And going along with that is also going to be the beginning of you developing a mission statement. And I have your email address, right?
Yep.
So here's the deal. I'm not expecting you to remember homework assignment, and actually I'm not going to go into it deeply today.
Okay.
I'm going to email you
Okay.
the homework assignment with instructions about how to do it, even though there really is no right or wrong. There are guidelines for how to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
And because I truly believe that in between each session is where the work gets done, I encourage you to email me anytime of the day, 24/7. I tell people that I respond, within the day, but that really means I respond within 2 hours typically. Even if it's just a quick note, got your email, I'll respond more fully later. But it's also a way for me to help you shape your homework assignments so that you really get the most from it.
Sure, thank you.
Okay? All right, I did a lot of talking. Do you have anything you want me to know about you that would make me understand how to kind of customize the beginning part of this for you?
Well, I guess that I have been running for a long time, and at this point in my career, I feel like I might be like peaking, and I don't really want to hit my peak until at least until the end of college. And so I guess something that through these sessions that I want to work through is keeping my peak in the distance. I don't want to top out yet, and I want to keep succeeding and doing better each time.
Excellent. So you have a lot of wisdom about how this whole process unfolds for people physically, athletically. Can you tell me about your relationship with your coach?
I have 3 coaches, so it's a very different relationship between the 3 of them. I've had one coach for me for all 11 of my seasons so far, through cross country and both seasons of track. And he's amazing. He definitely is more on the relationship side of things outside of track and inside of it too. And he tries to get to know us the best, and he knows when we're having bad days. He can tell with our eyes and our facial expressions, and he knows exactly what we're feeling even if we don't have to say it in words. And then I have another coach who's very stereotypical coach. He gives us the workouts, he tells us how to do it, tells us what to eat and that kind of stuff.
So which one do you tend to feel most comfortable with?
Well, his name is Coach Haley. He is the one who I described first. He's the one who definitely tries to make a good relationship with every athlete.
So that's important to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Right. And so that's going to be part of your voice of value in how you shape your pursuit of excellence in your sport and in other parts of your life. And we'll talk more about that. I don't want to flood you with information. So can you just give me a little bit of, tell me one moment that stands out in your mind that was successful, and one moment that stands out in your mind that felt like failure?
Well, last year at the end of my indoor track season, it was double L's, which is the state competition. I had a really great race, and I ran my personal best, and it was in our 4x, which is a relay. So it was really great because it's a team within the team itself too, and we all had really great interconnectedness that day, and we all had the best races we could. So that was definitely a good time. And then recently at states and cross country, I had a terrible race, and it was one that really should have mattered, and I ran a minute slower than what I wanted to. And that was a race that I hit a wall, and I just sort of gave up. So I was really disappointed with myself physically and mentally too.
And how did you recover from that?
Well, I took some time off because I really thought that I was mentally exhausted too, and school was really stressful because that was when I was applying to college. And that definitely helped because when I got back into it, when I started training for track, I got back into my groove, and I was enjoying running again, because after that race it kind of made me not want to keep going because I did so badly.
Right.
But taking time off helped, and then thinking about it more helped, and sort of reflecting on what I did.
Yeah. Good. So one of the things we're also going to do, because you have your goals, right, up for running your races. You have your race time goals, you have your winning goals, whatever they may be in your words. But the thing I'm going to help you to do also is to develop that secondary goal, because I believe that every situation we grow from, gain from, as long as we're not so monogamous with our primary goal that we can't see the benefits of that secondary goal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to help you to really expand your thinking about when you step out to do your race. Your primary goal comes first, and then how do you kick in either after the race or when you hit potentially that block point? How do you kick in your secondary goal to up your investment?
Yeah.
Right?
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah. All right. So look for the email, and thank you for being willing to videotape the very intro of our
Yeah, no
time
problem.
together. I didn't want to go in too deeply to your personal stuff for this reason, that
Yeah.
we were using it for videotape. And again, mental fitness coaching is not about going into that stuff so deeply. But I would have, just so you know, in our next session, I will want to get to know more about you personally, what your social and what your family life dynamics are like in general, and because it's important to know where your energy gets pulled, so I can teach you how to harness your energy when you need to, and how you leave the stressors from outside of, you compartmentalize essentially. But anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll see you next week.
Yep.
Okay? All right, great. Hi, Olivia. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You were a little bit late today. What's
Yeah.
going on?
Just a lot going on.
Yeah, I know you well enough to know that when you're late, because you're usually spot on time, that it typically means that you've got either a lot of multitasking stuff or some new stressors, because you are very meticulous with your time.
Yep.
So am I right? Am I
Yeah.
getting it?
Yeah.
Which one?
There's a lot going on, like, at home, and when stuff goes on at home, it just makes me really anxious, and, like, it fills me with anxiety, you know.
Mhm.
There was a lot going on today. Like, I was trying to balance my homework and then go to swim practice and then get here on time, and I just kind of,
Mhm.
you know,
Now, remind me, when is your season over?
it's over.
I thought so. When you said swim practice, I got
Yeah,
confused.
because I swim, like, off season,
Right.
but my high school season ended this past fall. So,
Okay. Yes, and last time we were together, you had talked about some new family stressors, which we don't need to bring up again because you really sorted through a lot of that. And I want to thank you ahead of time for being willing to videotape. And I really don't want you to have to talk about that stuff on videotape. What I really want to focus on is the stress that you talked about being compounded by the family stuff. The stress around how are you going to launch into college and take on your sport at that level and deal with family stuff,
right.
right? It's a lot for an 18-year-old girl.
Yeah.
So have you given more thought to that?
I thought about maybe lessening my workload, maybe, like, taking some things, like, off my list. But it's really hard to prioritize what's important, and also going into college, it's my first year, and I don't want to take away the whole social aspect and the new environment that I'll be in. So I don't really know. I've thought about it, but I don't really know how I can really, like, do it all, basically.
Right. And I also know that you being a swimmer is a large part of how you define yourself. And that the scholarship money that you got is based on your swimming.
Yeah.
So there is pressure for you to continue it, but what is your heart telling you? Remember we talked about clarity, and that, we've been practicing seeing from your heart when it comes to your sport. Right? To have vision and being able to visualize yourself in your sport, swimming hard, swimming well, from your heart. So where are you with it?
Well, I mean, I've been swimming my whole life, and it's been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember, and it's taken up my whole life. So it's really hard to just let it go if I were to decide to do that. But it's also really hard to continue it with all the other stuff and, like, my family situation right now. So I've given it thought, but I don't really, I need, like, guidance on, like, weight of, like, where I put the weight of, pros and cons, like, whatever. But I think that swimming is something that was always not something I used to get away from it all, but it was a really nice break from all the stress at home and stuff. So I'm leaning more towards going with it because it's been basically one of the only things that's kept me kind of sane this whole
Okay,
time.
and that actually speaks to what we've talked about before, which is your primary goal when you're actively swimming on your team is to swim hard, swim well,
Right.
win, right?
Mhm.
And your secondary goal has been before, and it sounds like is still,
Mhm.
that it helps you manage
Mhm.
stress. You find a relief in it,
Mhm.
which is fabulous,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
you do have your two goals, and you're attached to them. Can you, I know you've done this in your homework assignments. I read through your homework assignments using your voice of value and your personal mission statement toward why you are committed to swimming in college next year. And you're going to have these moments where you're questioning that.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, you're supposed to question it.
Yeah.
Your stage of life is all about questioning your purpose
Mhm.
with everything that you do. And you're going to weed through the things that you do, the things that you choose, as they make the most sense to you and continue to define you. Can you tell me more about some of the things that you wrote were beautifully done about, why, your why
Mhm.
you're in this? Can you talk more about it?
Why I swim.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me just ask you one quick
Yeah.
backup question. What was it like for you to do the assignment, to think about your why, to think about your mission statement?
I don't think anyone's really asked me that before, so it was kind of difficult to, go ahead and formulate an answer. But I thought about it, and I guess it all came down to passion. And I'm a big believer, and even in my academic endeavors, what I want to do later in life, I am such a strong believer in anything that comes with your passions, you should just go for it. And swimming has always, it wasn't initially a passion, it was more something that I was just forced to do because it was a sport and whatever. But then it sort of transformed into this passion of mine to succeed and just do things that make me happy and stuff like that. So I think that the reason why I swim is because I'm trying to follow my passions. And if I follow my passion in swimming, then I'll be able to follow my passions just as overall in my life.
Beautiful.
So.
Right. Stress outside of swimming, not just the stress related to racing, but the stress that you've been talking about in your home life challenges your why. And what I'm going to work with you on in your next set of homework assignments is going to be around compartmentalization. How do you create the safety net or the boxes for your stress to be put into in certain times, right? It's not about cutting it off emotionally or ignoring it. It's just there's a time and a place to channel your energy. So energy channeling is much like swimming down that lane, right? Where there's ropes on either side, you're not going to swim over into somebody else's lane, right? You're going to stay in yours. And learning how to do that, applying that to how you channel your energy, how to stay in yours and not take on more than yours, right? Is going to allow you to conserve and then invest your energy when you need to. I had started to work with you on coming up with more of your own, your mission statement is in the progress stages. Again, a new mission statement from when we started working together at first, because you've evolved. You've evolved through your college process, you've evolved through different things going on in your family life, and it was great to see how you kind of adjusted your mission statement to be fitting with your more mature self, quite frankly. How do you understand using it? Are you practicing it each day?
Yeah, about evolving or about my mission
Using your
statement?
mission statement.
Well, I've definitely taken on more responsibility with my family life, but being able to balance it also was something that I needed to learn, and through my mission statement, I have matured a lot, and I have been able to balance it all and take responsibility for the stuff going on at home, and then balancing out when I'm at the pool and stuff like that. So.
Right. So using that mission statement with what you had adjusted it to kind of reflect is that you want to be your best in all your roles on every team that you're on, whether it's home team or swim team. And so what I'd like you to consider is there is stress involved in your roles right now. And to relieve the stress, I'm going to ask you to practice each day a mindfulness exercise. And, for me, when I go to the gym, and I'm corny with my phrases. So I have, my mind and my muscle, right? And I say that to myself, put my mind in my muscle. And I actually can picture, I look down at my muscle and I really feel, somehow I feel it way up here, what's going on in my muscle, whichever muscle it is. And I squeeze it harder and I push it harder, and that's true mindfulness, right? And so what I'm going to ask you to do, I know we've talked about and you've used visualization before, and what we really haven't done yet, and this is part of it, is to use visualization but really incorporate all of your senses in it, as opposed to just picturing yourself finishing your race and winning and getting the prize for winning. It's more about, which is good visualization too, to picture yourself winning, picture yourself successful, of course, but there's something that's even more powerful than that. And the way to make it more powerful is the idea of incorporating all of your senses into the experience of visualization. Our bodies learn best from experience, right? Our muscle memory